So I've used the same effect in probably over 100 mixes, and it still sounds fresh every time. Check this out. All right, I'll stop there because I could probably find many more examples and just keep going and going. But it's kind of a joke with my friends who are engineers or producers. It's like that lo-fi telephone effect. It just always works. It always seems to sound good when you use it. It never really goes out of style, and I don't think it ever will because it provides an essential element that we need in mixes, which is contrast, right? It's making something smaller, limiting, reducing the frequency range of a sound so that you can have something that sounds bigger and fuller. And that contrast is what keeps things interesting. It allows us to keep the mix moving and have things sound smaller versus bigger. And that's really all we're trying to do as mixers, is try to make things sound interesting and keep the listener interested throughout a song. I've used it hundreds of times. You probably use it all the time, but sometimes it could be a little bit of a pain in the butt loading up, 2, 3, maybe 4 plugins. Sometimes you need the EQ and then maybe a compressor, maybe some distortion, maybe some delay or some other type of effect on it. Like if I want to give this effect to the vocal here, we've got to start with an EQ. We got to put the filters in. Move around multiple controls on the EQ till we find the spot that we want it at. Then let's say I want some, distortion on this. Then I got to choose what distortion do I want to use. Well, let's try this one. Well, actually, that sounds a little too harsh, so let's try and switch the order of these plugins. Maybe that's a little bit too dynamic, so then I need a compressor on it. So you get the point. It's a little finicky, and especially if I want to automate that and create that filter sweep effect, well, now I've got to automate, multiple controls in the EQ. In fact, in this song, the intro does exactly that. So check this out. I'll bring up the EQ. So I don't like repetition. I get really bored with it, and it started becoming annoying for me, noticing that every time I wanted this effect, which I use all the time, I'd have to go through these same multiple steps, a repeated process to get the result. And I wanted to make it simpler, faster, and more enjoyable to use this effect in the mix. So my team and I at Black Salt Audio, we came up with this plugin called TELOFI. So let's go back to this intro I showed you. Let's recreate this using TELOFI. So what I did is just print down a part of the mix. Now, let's grab TELOFI. So right away we have the effect. Something like that. Now towards the end, we want it to open up. Kind of like that. So we'll just quickly grab the automation there. Let's throw it into latch mode here. Just checking in context to the mix. So that took, less than a minute? I guarantee that took probably about 5 minutes at least to dial that in the old way I was doing it. Now let's check later in the song. We have that telephone lo-fi distorted effect happening a bunch of times on the vocals. Right there. We got it here. So let's create that same sound with TELOFI as well. In this case, we want a lot of distortion on it. And you can get really fun and creative with this. It doesn't have to just be like one static effect. You already saw me automate a little bit. Let's get a little crazier with that intro there. So let's see what happens if we automate this. So we automate the effect. Now let's automate the tone as well. I love tools that just feel nice to use and make things fast and easy because it keeps me creative. And what we've done with this plugin, the end goal, the result that we're trying to achieve is something that is simple, but what we've done is take away the tedious controls and kind of the annoying part of the process and the visual complexity. So you just pull it up, you instantly hear a starting point of that effect like right away. And then it takes you just a few seconds to turn some knobs and dial in the sound that you want. And to me, that's something that is super, super important as a mixer. You want to feel really kind of light and able to create sounds very quickly on demand as you feel it and not get kind of dragged down and feel the weight and drag of repetitive moves and actions. It's kind of like getting a dishwasher and using that instead of washing the dishes by hand. You get a better result and it's a much more enjoyable process. So I'm excited about this plugin. I think you'll like it too. Even if you just download the trial and fool around with it, I think you'll find that it's going to become indispensable to you. It's just something that makes a repeated process that you're going to do anyways a lot more enjoyable, a lot more creative, and a lot faster. So head over to blacksaltaudio.com to grab TELOFI. You can download the trial if you want. And do me a favor and drop a comment below on this video to let me know how you like this plugin. All right, talk to you later, guys.